Hello there, everybody. Lately, I've been pondering about some of the earlier days of YouTube and what I've been through on there, and was thinking about some of my favorite memories, and so I'm going to make a video about that. And if you guys want to share some of your favorite memories of YouTube either as an audience member or a participant, then feel free in the comments below. So going back to when I first started YouTube, like right before I started YouTube, like before I was like starting my own channel anyway, I was a watcher of Chris Stuckman and the Nostalgia Critic and whatnot. That was before I like found World Class Bullshitters and Ethan Van Sciver and stuff like that. Before I found the like other variety of YouTube stuff, and then since then I've found even more people and other channels since then. But that was the beginning. Was Chris Stuckman and Nostalgia Critic, oddly enough, got me into where I am now, and I based my channel on doing stuff somewhat similar to the Nostalgia Critic as far as like adding skits into the videos. And eventually, like as I was growing on YouTube and was doing some stuff, I'll get back to this one in a second because what I'm about to reference happens later into the time. But before that, as far as like a favorite YouTube memory, it's like when I met Flipped Out, Jeff the Iron Wolf, Black Angus Reviews, and Sith Kryptonian. We're just different people that did not have YouTube channels that would sometimes see each other in the live streams of other chats of like World Class Bullshitters or Comic Cars Pro Secrets or whatever. Like we'd recognize some names here and there, and we'd interact a little bit. And then at one point, I think it was like during a Mindless Entertainment one, Jeff the Iron Wolf and I like we're just chatting in there, and this is after I think we each made a channel by this point. We like just have started a little bit. My channel was around a little bit. It was around about a few months before I discovered all these other YouTube channels, but it wasn't a very active YouTube channel necessarily. There wasn't that much going on my channel. And it was around that time I was like, hey, how about we make a podcast called the Jeff and Jeff Podcast? Huh? Isn't that fun? And then that led into Black Angus Reviews saw that and he wanted to join in and talk as well. And so we did. And then, Flipped Out was around and Sith Kryptonian at some point. And like we just kind of got that kicking. And that sort of became, in a way, that became the origin of the Fandom Collective, like before it became what it is now. Like those were the starting points of the Fandom Collective back then. Then let's fast forward a little bit to about a year. I want to say it was maybe a year or so later, maybe less than a year later. I made the Rookies Test trilogy, which was god awful, of course, but the reason why I called it the Rookies Test was that like up to that point I did quite a few different skits on my channel, like different skits here and there, a part of reviews and whatnot, just little ones here and there. And then the Rookies Test trilogy was going to be just a skit entirely. Like each is going to be 3 little episodes, 3 short things, and they were going to be their own. It was going to be separate from it was going to be a continuation of the reviews, but without a review. I was going to have some kind of story, and I tried my best to get as many YouTubers as I could into that one. I think I got around 30 YouTubers to cameo in that one at the time, and that alone was like freaking amazing to do. And so after I did the Rookies Test trilogy, I think Geeks and Gamers hit 100K subscribers, and they were doing a 24-hour live stream to celebrate, and they're doing like a charity donation to an animal shelter. And around the middle of the night, Jeremy already had a bunch of guests on earlier in the day and everything, and it was like, around my time it was probably around midnight. Around his time it was probably 3 a.m. And I was just in the chat watching him. He's drilling into the microphone. He's just like, yeah, hey, he's reading the chat, essentially, like all out of topics. And I in the chat was like, I super chat him, hey, I could jump on and talk back and forth with you if you want to. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen you around a little bit, so sure. And I was able to go on to that stream. That was the biggest audience I was ever in front of at the time. And then I asked him if I could invite a buddy on that was in the chat as well, and I invited Sith Kryptonian on. And we are like, hey, if you want to like take you want to go to the bathroom or something, you want to grab a bite, whatever, we can just handle this while you're doing that. And so he let us do that for, it was a good 10 to 15 minutes, I think, before he came back in. And and it was cool, and we were able to stay on for the rest of that stream and got to meet Odin's movie blog and a couple other people at the time. Exactly, but there's different people that we were able to meet at that time, and there was over 500 people in the audience. And like later, as you know, the next day went into theirs, it's still streaming, you know, there's up to 1,000 or something. So that was pretty cool. That was a pretty darn cool memory, and I really enjoyed that. That was a good confidence booster going forward since then. And then after that, I want to say is, you know, going forward a little bit further here, when I made this has got to be an obvious one, I think, because this is probably the one thing about me and about my channel that most people that have known me for the last 4 or 5 years will remember is the Rookie's Quest trilogy that I made. This was, you know, supposed to be a sequel to the Rookie's Test trilogy, and I've grown even more since then, essentially, as far as a channel and people that I've known, and my skills with filmmaking have grown a little bit since then as well. I learned quite a few different techniques and whatnot, and so I was making a huge one. And at that point, though, I was mostly trying to make the cameo movie, essentially. Like, I had a story in mind that was completely centered around things that are going on, like that are in jokes with a lot of the YouTubers at the time, and I was able to get 130 YouTubers to cameo in that little trilogy, which might be some kind of a record. I have no idea if that really is or not, but that whole thing was really fun. Even if it was cringe, again, it was so cringe. The story was cringe. A lot of it was cringe, but you know, seeing all these different YouTubers interact in this little area together, I think a lot of people really enjoyed that, and especially in the end when, you know, I'm weakened and I'm asking the YouTubers to give me their energy, like a spirit bomb from Dragon Ball Z. Give me your energy, and it cuts to all these YouTubers. You know, here's my energy, Rookie. Here it is. Blah, blah. Everybody's doing their part. Like, a lot of people seemed to enjoy that at the time, and that was fun. That's definitely got to be my favorite memory just of things, because now that's a time capsule. That's like a time capsule of us as YouTubers, as where we all were at one point, the amount of people that interacted with each other. Nowadays, a lot of those same people don't like each other. Some of those people are dead. You know, Brandon Moist was in that, you know, and yeah, seeing him do his pouring, you know, moisturize. It's like, oh man, miss that guy. And then, you know, a lot of people aren't YouTubers anymore that, you know, were in that video, and there's just a lot has changed. A lot has changed since then. So I appreciate it as a time capsule of where things were at one point, and like where I was, you know, as far as my filming abilities and where my head was at and what I wanted to do. I think there's a lot of funny stuff in there. It was just all very silly. But that, like the Rookie's Quest trilogy, the making of it, the people that enjoyed being a part of it, that's probably got it. I think that's going to be my favorite memory for a long time. I don't know. I don't know what can top that, to be honest, as far as just me with YouTube. Though there has been other stuff that's been cool, but yeah, honestly, thinking about it, like there's been some fun things that have happened since then. But as far as a favorite memory, that's definitely the Rookie's Quest trilogy. Definitely made a lot of friends that way too. Like asking people for the first time, I'd just message whomever the hell I can and try to get their footage somehow to me. Some of them didn't want to be on camera, but I didn't care. I just wanted them to be a part of it. So that was something. That's also when I was doing stop motion for the first time. Like, I made a few stop motion things before that, but there wasn't a real story to it. It was more just around, you know, Brie Larson and Rotten Tomatoes is kind of funny, and you know, other YouTubers made videos, and so I took their audio clips and put them into the video. But with the Rookie's Quest trilogy, I also made a not a Rotten Tomatoes, but you know, I called it the Game of Tomatoes trilogy, because it was kind of parodying Game of Thrones. And you know, instead of the White Walkers, there's the Skywalkers. And I had a bunch of action figures to do that, and I had a bunch of tomatoes and olive swords, and you know, again, a bunch of different YouTubers to voice the characters. And it was so cheesy, so weird. Its story didn't make that much sense, but I enjoyed filming it, and it was another learning process for me. I put a lot of effort into that one, and man, just looking back, man, those were the times, man. Those were the times of YouTube. It was, things were still new to a lot of people. We were like all a whole bunch of new people hanging out and having fun, and I just enjoyed that big time. There's other memory. I'll probably make another YouTube video one of these days going over more YouTube memories, because right now I'm just kind of pondering on that. there's other stuff that's happened that I've enjoyed, but this one is definitely taking the cake, and I could talk about this for a while, man, because I enjoy, again, like the first interactions with some of the YouTubers, the reactions after making the video. I think I posted one of the clips of part 3 to the Rookie's Quest trilogy on my channel on accident. I was only what I did, I think, was I uploaded it to see like how it uploads, because I think there was a lot of it was having trouble on my editor, and I wanted to make sure that it still functioned. And I meant to have it be like an unlisted video, like so nobody can see it, but I posted it as public first and then made it unlisted. But in that time, the few seconds it was up, Justin Proper, Miss Sarcastic Nerd, Mary Mayhem, and a couple other people were all in a private chat talking, and they saw the video. They saw it go live, and then Justin Proper calls me, and he was like, "Hey, what happened to the video? The video, it stopped playing. I tried to access it and it didn't work, but one of them still had it up, so it was playing." But he's like, "Hey, I can't find it on your channel. Where'd it go?" I'm just like, "Oh, you weren't supposed to see that. You guys weren't supposed to see it at all yet." And they were like, "We're watching it all together right now. This is really cool. This is cool, man." And I was just like, "Oh, like, you aren't supposed to see it." So I joined their call, and we all kind of watched it together. I let them see the scene, and they're just like, "Wow, this was good," because this involved a couple of the YouTubers putting on their best acting performance that they can. I was doing my best, emotional performance as I can, and it was a neat little scene, and it was cool that they liked. It was feedback before the video was finished, and I liked, it gave me a lot of confidence to finish that last episode there for the Rookie's Quest trilogy. And yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite YouTube memories. And yeah, like I said, I'll probably make another video going over other stuff, because right now I'm having trouble remembering at the moment and writing notes down. But let me know some of your guys' favorite YouTube memories, and have a great rest of your day.